So before we jump into today's video, I just want to go ahead and come clean with something and let you know that I am no expert at lighting whatsoever. So like I said in the teaser, I am no expert at lighting. I've been doing video and photography for well over 10 years, probably closer to 20, just about for each. And I prefer to just use what I have. I prefer to use the ambient light, whether it's light coming in through a window with blinds over it or something, whether it's using the lights in a room. And you can kind of tell that in my videos. I have not been very good at getting the most out of my light settings. It's been commented on in a couple of them. And I even look at some of my videos and I think, man, I really should have done better. But for the sake of trying to put out videos, I have done what I could with what I had. But if you saw my video earlier in the week, I now have access to something that I feel like can take my videos to the next level, and I can go from this to this. Now, if you saw my video earlier in the week, I did an unboxing of the Aputure MC 4 light travel kit. And it really is amazing what this little kit can do. It's $500, which I know is about the price of maybe 2 lights. It can actually be a little cheaper than some of the bigger studio lights. But it's pretty amazing what these 4 little lights can do. Granted, they are at, most of them are at 100% power, so you wouldn't want to necessarily consider this a full-on studio upgrade. I'm gonna run through, while we do this, a little bit about what I know as far as lighting goes. So in another lifetime, no, this is not about the camera store. This is about a stint that I did as the media resources consultant at USC Aiken. And I learned under one of my college professors and mentors, Keith Pierce. And he actually taught a class to the USC Aiken communications classes a few times on lighting and how to kind of give them the best bang for their buck with a minimal setup. And that minimal setup was really a 3-light setup. And so what we would talk about is we would talk about the key light, a fill light, and maybe just one backlight to kind of give you some depth. But we have here a 4-light setup with a key light, this fill light, this backlight over here giving me a little bit of line there, and then the one lighting up this seamless backdrop back there. So just to give an idea of what the setup looks like, I'm going to zoom out and you can see we have the key light, a fill light, one backlight there, and another backlight there. And Keith was a lot better at lighting than I ever would be. And I've actually learned a lot more in the last year from a guy named Mike Grigsby here in Augusta. He is a lighting pro. And just by watching the way he bounces light, the way he absorbs light with different materials and that kind of thing has been really, really eye-opening. So I hope to take my lighting to the next level thanks to Mike. But for today's sake, this 4-light setup is pretty awesome. And so what I've done is I've put one of the MC lights here, and it is about 2 feet away, and it's at 100% brightness. And if I bring it in, you can see what it does to my face. And we used to do this with the kids at USC Aiken. We would show them what the different distances and the different intensities would do. And you can see how I even out, how my shadow moves, and you can kind of play with that a little bit. You can also see what the different fill lights do. So the 3 lights here, the key light, this backlight, and this backlight are all at 100% intensity. Then my fill light, I've actually got at 55% intensity to kind of give a little bit of shadow on the left side of my face. It's just a nice little dramatic look, and I really like how this is working out. So in this first shot, what we're looking at here is just the key light, and this is your primary light that is going to give the most definition, I feel like, to the very front of your subject. You can offset it to the right, you can offset it to the left. I have chosen here to do an offset to the right, and you can kind of see how that just looks as you use only one light to the front. There's a lot of shadows in different areas, but this is still a really good start to kind of add a little bit of depth to your subject. This is one of the fill lights, and this one I tend to put opposite of where I've put the key light. So, and I also try and make it a little shallower. I don't like to put it at the exact same depth as the key light, and by that I mean the angle from the subject. And on this one, you like to turn down the intensity a little bit. That way it doesn't add nearly as much depth. You're not trying to take away from that key light. You're just trying to add in some of the details. This is one of the backlights, another fill light, so to speak. It's meant to give you a little bit of more definition and separate you from the backdrop. What you're doing is you're just making it to where you don't melt into the background, and it can kind of help make the background have a little bit more definition, and it's really meant to give you even more depth. And this final shot, this one is just the backlight, and this is lighting the background. And this is where you're just, again, you're adding more depth, you're adding more information to the shot, and this kind of helps separate you from the background. Then you can kind of do some different things. You can do just two lights, whether that's the key light and the very backlight, the key light and another backlight, the key light and just your fill light. You can really get creative with this, and you can do a 2-light setup. You can do a 3-light setup, 4, 5, whatever you need. But the more lights you add, the more information, the more depth you add to your shot. And it really helps round things out. That way you're not relying on, say, fluorescent lights in a room. You're adding more depth to the shot, and you can make it look even more dramatic or less dramatic depending on how many lights, the intensity, and the depth that they are from the subject. For a quick test, this studio setup is just awesome. I know we've got a couple lights here that were about $200 to $350 depending on how new they were and the intensity level of them, but for a pinch, for $500, you get 4 lights that do this, and they're wireless. They are on 3 of them are on stands. Excuse me, 3 of them are on stands. One is actually on a music stand, pointing up back there. But you really can't beat this setup, I feel like, for the price. I'm going to continue to work on these a little bit. I'm going to learn a little bit more as far as using the app. That's probably going to be my next video, is how to use the app to control this light, to control that light, because you can control them all independently. So I can set this one at 100%, 55%, 75%, and go back down to like 25%. I can change up the colors. They're all set at 4800 Kelvin right now, so I can alter that a little bit. I can add in a big light, and then I can actually color match these lights to that light as well, just to keep my white balance as, you know, crystal clear and as perfect as possible. But this, what I feel like is a very conservative setup, actually works really well. So I'm very impressed with this so far. I know during the unboxing I already knew that I was impressed, because I have used these lights for little things, little ambient light here and there, using the fire effect, using the colors to offset some videos that we've done here at the church. But it is really, really impressive to see 4 of these MC lights going and working and giving me a studio feel. So thank you for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative, and I hope to catch you in another video where I will look at the Sidious Link app and how to control these 4 lights, maybe even throw in the 5th one independently as a group to give you the most bang for your buck in your studio setup.